Finally done with AP Human. Huh. I got this. Wrong. Wrong. Wrong? Wrong? Why are we so wrong about the world? I mean, we live it, rule it, own it, and yet we can't understand it. Well, that's wrong. We don't try to. Factfulness was a collaboration of 18 years of work created by Swedish physician Hans Rosling, his son Ola Rosling, and daughter-in-law Anna Rosling Ronald. Factfulness isn't a book of boring facts, nor is it as long as an AP Human textbook. It isn't fiction, but the world we see now is. 10 reasons why we're wrong about the world, and why things are better than you think. As the video continues, please keep in mind that I cannot cover all 10 reasons, but I will cover a few that relates to the AP Human course and cite quotes within the book that supports the units found. Chimpanzees are not a species to be underestimated. Actually, the majority of the world should listen to their lectures. In the questions asked earlier, thousands of people across the globe scored less than the chimps. This includes med students, teachers, eminent scientists, executives in multinational companies, and even senior political decision makers. These are highly educated people who take an interest in the world, yet a stunning majority of them score worse than the general public. The answer we seek comes as a result of a distorted worldview. Here are some important rules of thumb when tackling modern problems. It's common to want to separate us from the rest of the world, but what defines us and the rest? This is our first mega misconception. The world is divided into two: poor and rich, developing and developed, West and the rest. However you may call these two boxes of countries, none of it truly fits square to hole. Take a look at this graph. Simple, right? Let's go back to making decisions for our future and forget that we scored lower than the chimps. That graph was from 1965. As you wouldn't trust an 80-year-old article on the groundbreaking disease, you don't want to trust this data. Here's a graph from 2017. The world has completely changed within a century. Less gap, isn't it? Here are some basic tips to control the gap instinct. Look for the majority. It's usually in the middle and where the gap is supposed to be. 4 levels of income. Families around the world have similar characteristics in different levels. Beware of comparisons of average. There's usually a spread among data. You'd probably find that there's no gap at all. Beware of comparisons of extremes. In all groups, countries, and people, there are some on the top and at the bottom. But even then, the majority is usually somewhere between, right where the gap is supposed to be. The view from up here. Remember, looking down from above distorts view. Everything looks equally short or bad, but it's not. So how does this relate to human geography? We know that a majority of countries are developing into higher stages of the DTM due to better healthcare, education, and standard of living, which lowers the CBR and CDR. The gap instinct is outdated as countries globalize and become better economically developed. Today, families are small and childless are rare in the vast majority of countries. This is a common theme found in AP Human Geography as it relates to population, primarily the DTM, TFR, HDI, and advances in the UN Development Goals. Today, capital managers and their wealthiest clients are eager to invest in the latest sensation, perhaps one that makes their smiles bigger and their houses fatter. Yet they're looking at the wrong people. Moreover, the wrong countries to invest in. The most profitable investments are no longer found in European capitals anymore, but rather in the emerging markets of Asia and Africa. The destiny instinct is the idea that innate characteristics determine the destinies of people, countries, religions, or cultures. It's the idea that things have always been this way and will never change. This makes us believe that our tempting gaps are not only true, but fated, unchanging and unchangeable. There are a couple of reasons to why we would have this sense of false information. I will be touching on one of the many important factors: outdated knowledge. Historically, our surroundings didn't change much. The lectures taught at schools are outdated and aren't kept up with the modern world. As Hans says, it blinds us to the revolutionary transformations in societies happening all around us. Well, how does it relate to AP Human? For starters, as we learn in industry, countries around the world are starting to move up Rossow's ladder of development. Especially countries in Asia and Africa, we can see that many regions of the world are moving from preparation for takeoff to takeoff, and in some cases, take off to drive to maturity and towards an age of high mass consumption. This is due to globalization of technology, increases in education, healthcare, and outsourcing, which better economically supports these regions. This creates a larger working class population for the emerging market as individuals are having their basic necessities met and buying wants from the market. Companies looking to gain a lead in the market should focus on creating cheaper prices for the citizens in takeoff stage rather than making new products for the wealthy citizens in Europe and North America. To control the destiny instinct, it is important to recognize that slow changes gradually add up to big changes regarding people, countries, religions, and cultures. Remember, slow changes are still change, and keep track of gradual improvements, update your knowledge, think about how values today differ from the values in your grandparents' time, and collect examples of cultural change. Personally, I love this book. It captivated me in all different types of ways, ranging from graphs to experiences. All of it allowed my hands to flip through the pages like a boy rushing into a candy store. Something I would like to mention is that these rules of thumbs will take me time to adapt to. It doesn't help that the world is constantly changing, but I understand how crucial it is to have up-to-date knowledge. I'm never a fan of nonfiction literature, but Hans and his team makes learning the world a curiosity rather than an assignment. Never had I been such awe of data, and Hans's experiences working with individuals bring sight into how wrong I was about the world prior to reading the book. It brings hope to me that everything is getting better, not because of my feelings or anything attached with that, but with statistics and hard-known data. And with that, I am happy to wrap up this school year learning more about the world with the knowledge from AP Human and Factfulness.